What's up, Warriors fans, and welcome back to Warriors Latest. As always, I am your host, Max Arizin. A big thanks to all you guys for tuning in, liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell, as I do post new Warriors videos daily, and it does help the channel continue to grow as the season moves along. And also a huge shout out to Underdog for sponsoring today's video. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, Underdog is a skills-based app where you could choose your favorite player to go either higher or lower on stats like points, steals, rebounds, and more. And should you get your picks right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Now, if you download the app today using this QR code as well as promo code BasketballFan, you can score up to $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Now, for me personally, I love Underdog because it allows me to do the research on specific matchups, different trends that players are having, and I like to go higher with guys like Pajemski, Kristaps Porzingis, and occasionally Draymond Green based off their matchups and their hot streaks, and then go lower in terms of their assist totals and rebounding totals based off of who they're going to be guarding that game. Now, on top of that, the one thing I do love about Underdog is the fact that it will give you the most important push notifications before you get them from wherever you get your regular daily news. I've noticed this since the NBA trade deadline when I would get push notifications from, say, Underdog regarding trades a good 10 minutes before I'd get them from either Shams on Twitter or from ESPN. So that's the one thing I do love about it. So again, download the app today using this QR code as well as promo code BasketballFan to score those $75 in bonus entries and join in the fun with me. Now, watching the Warriors, I know, has not been a lot of fun so far this season because of how up and down they've been. And last night's game is exactly the definition of that. They got spanked by the Nuggets, and it's not surprising. They had a fuller roster than they've had for the last few weeks, but they still don't have Steph Curry. And without Steph, this team is basically a car without a driver. And when you don't have the driver, you can't go fast. You're basically just slowly moving towards the end of the season and an eventual play-in loss. And while, yes, we are seeing guys that are really putting up their own, I do love the fact that at least there's a learning experience to be taken from all this. Now, looking at the stat line, nobody really had a great game. I mean, there were guys like Porzingis as well as Pajemski who had 23 apiece, and Draymond did contribute with 13 of his own. But outside of that, nobody is really putting in the work, but I think this is just a general experience builder because, again, this is the Nuggets. Joker is one of the best players in the league, not named SGA or Wemby. So you have to take everything that happened in that game with a grain of salt. You had Jamal Murray coming off a 50-point performance a few games ago. I mean, Joker in general is one of the greatest players, so you can't be surprised when they blow a team out by 20-plus points, especially when it's the Warriors who are without Steph. So this isn't really that surprising, but I did like the fact that at least Pajemski is putting up good points. He is showing that he does belong and maybe deserves a contract extension before he's eventually traded in the offseason, or maybe he does stick around. It could go either way, but 23 points in 32 minutes is not that bad. So I'm enjoying that, and I did love that Porzingis went 8 for 14 from the field and 5 for 5 from 3. So he's really showing up and showing out when his name is called upon. And it seems so far that the whole health issues that he's been dealing with are at least somewhat behind him. And that's exactly what the Warriors need from their big man. Because looking at these last few games, Porzingis has proven that he is the answer at center. And when you're the answer at center, that is a dream come true for the Warriors, as well as Warriors fans, because this team has been without a true big man, I want to say, since 2019. That's all the way back in the DeMarcus Cousins era. We remember they tried to figure it out, like get guys that sort of fit but didn't really just mesh well. You think of James Weissman, his injuries got the better of him. Then they went back to Kevon Looney, who, let's be honest, he's a great player and was essential in that title run in 2022. But he came in as a small forward, power forward. He is not a small ball center. And looking at what he's doing now with the Pelicans, it just goes to show that he only fits as a small ball center with the Warriors. He is not a big man per se outside of Golden State. But now that the Warriors have a guy like Kristaps Porzingis, a guy who can stretch the floor, allow Draymond Green to do what he likes to do and attack the basket and be that connector, court general along with Steph, it's going to create a lot of opportunities once this team is fully healthy. I mean, last night, going 5 for 5 from the three-point line, as well as dropping another 3 to get a total of 23 points. That's exactly what you need. Now, granted, he is not giving you the rebounding total that you would get from like a stronger big man, reminiscent of Andrew Bogut during the golden days of the Warriors 10 years ago, but he's still giving you something. We could rely on Draymond a little bit more to get those rebounds, but Draymond is not the best defender for some of the bigger centers in the league the way Porzingis is. I'm curious in the next game versus San Antonio how Porzingis will match up with the likes of Victor Wembanyama. Now, in the Warriors' 2 wins against the Spurs, Draymond was able to get extremely physical with Wembanyama, but the Warriors were also at full strength, having Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry to get those wins. And those were tough wins to get to begin with. And I watched both of them, and they were great games. But the Warriors, I don't know if they're going to pull this one out on Wednesday, and it sort of remains to be seen. But Porzingis is going to be a big factor if they do. Now, fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go either higher or lower on stats like points, steals, rebounds, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Today on Underdog, I will be looking at the Bulls-Spurs game and selecting Victor Wembanyama to go higher than his usual 26.5 points, as well as Colin Sexton to go lower than his usual 17.5 points. Download the app today and use promo code BasketballFan to score $75 in bonus entries when you place your first $5. That's promo code BasketballFan. Underdog. Make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-878 or text HOMI 467-369.
Now, at long last, I've been saying it for a while, but the Warriors are finally calling a spade, and they're acknowledging that Steph doesn't have the runway to come back by the play-in. There are 9 games left, or less than 9 games left in this regular season, and you know what? There's not enough time for him to really get things going. He hasn't even had a full scrimmage yet, and they expect him to be ready for the play-in games. That's just not going to happen. I'm glad the Warriors are finally acknowledging this, and once they do acknowledge this and realize, look, giving the players the idea, it's like, look, backup isn't on its way. You're on your own. You've got to figure this out, and maybe they'll play better together when they realize Steph isn't coming back. And look, maybe this helps them come together and they win one of their play-in games, or you know what, they lose it. But they're going to go down swinging, and I think that's a big thing for the Warriors. They realize, you know what, we're on our own. We got ourselves into this mess. Now we have to get ourselves out. The good news is, even if without Steph, they do have a much deeper roster than they had the last few weeks. So at least those are pluses. But the Warriors should have acknowledged this a long time ago. There's something about this runner's knee injury, and it makes me wonder, this is a wear and tear injury. Like, this is an injury where it's like you're just getting overworked and you're worn out, and the fact that they wanted to rush him back or wanted him back, and they kept telling the fans that he was going to come back, it's not feasible. On top of that, it gives the fans false hope as well as the players false hope. You should at least be honest with the team, with the fans, and say, hey, this is the team we got. We're going to do what we can with what we have, and then build upon that. And maybe had they acknowledged this earlier, they would have made more moves pre-March 1st to add players that could at least score a bit better and put them in a better offensive position to at least win some of those tighter games. Because, look, they didn't really add that much at the deadline when they should have. But you know what? They could have done it. They could have acknowledged it earlier and done something with that. But again, hindsight is 2020. The Warriors are at where they are right now, regardless, and nothing's going to change unless they start winning. And bottom line is, you got to look at these games as experience builders for this young Warriors team. Yes, they do have to keep pushing and finish the season out before their play-in game at either 10, 9, or 8, most likely 10, but they're experience builders for these younger guys. And say if Steph was in, is Pat Spencer going to get a ton of minutes? Is Gary Payton II going to get a ton of minutes? D'Anthony Melton, guys like that? Probably not. Had Steph been back, Steph would have been playing at least 35 to 38 minutes a night. And you know what? Guys like Melton, guys like Pods, guys like Peyton and Pat Spencer would have not gotten this experience had he been in there. So you just got to take it as it is and look at these games as experience builders for these young guys and see how they can take this experience and apply it to the play-in game. Who knows? Maybe they take this experience and pull one over on the Blazers or the Clippers, depending on who they play. So I'm excited to see where they can build with this, or what they can build with this experience. And you know what? Maybe they'll surprise all of us. Now, that's all we have today for Warriors Latest. As always, a big thanks to you guys for tuning in, liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell, as well as a big thank you to Underdog for sponsoring today's video. Now, don't forget, sign up today using this QR code as well as promo code BasketballFan to score those $75 in bonus entries on your first $5. And if you have any thoughts on how the Warriors could potentially get better, just with different lineups over these last few games leading into the play-in game, feel free to comment below, as I love hearing your ideas. And as always, go Dubs.